Hi, I'm Mary Beth Stapleton, Manager of Family and Community Partnerships for Harford County Public Schools. Welcome to the Parent Academy Real Talk on safety and security, our continuing series of information for parents on how we're working every day to keep your children safe, because we know that's so important to you. With me today, I have a special guest, Misty Goines, who is our Regional Security Coordinator for the Southern Region. Is that correct?
Yes.
Very good. Well, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And when we talk about the Southern Region, if we could just help parents understand, in your role, which schools are you responsible for? Just kind of a general, I know you have a lot, but just in general, which schools?
I have 18 schools, including Harford Glen, and they are all in the Southern Region of the Harford County area, from the Joppa towns as far as George Lisby.
Okay.
And everything in between.
Very good. So that's a pretty big spot there. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so in your work, you're working every day to make sure that our children are safe in their learning environment. We know that that's a role of the Regional Safety Coordinator. So can you share for parents in that role, what are some things that you're doing to make sure that our children are able just to focus on learning and we know that they're safe?
Some things that I do is make sure that the physical safety of the school is intact. I often go around to the schools to test their safety protocols. I'll check doors. I will watch as they have visitors come to make sure that they are following the protocols as they should be. I check the exteriors of the buildings. I walk around the buildings with the administration to make sure that everything inside is safe, that they can make safe exits, that the doors are clear, and I just look at things from a safety perspective so that they don't really have to worry with that.
Okay, so, and does that vary by level? So elementary school might look different than middle than high, or are they all kind of the same protocols?
In terms of the physical safety of the school, it's probably about the same protocols, just making sure that the buildings are safe across the board.
Understood. And so when we think about safety and working with staff, what do we say to administration, to staff around those protocols? Do we provide training on how they can assist us in keeping those buildings safe? Is that something that you do in your role?
I do provide guidance if I see something that may be out of place, or something that if a lead secretary may have let someone in the building without questioning who they were. If I witness this, then I'll be able to talk to the secretary as well as the administration and just provide some guidance on how better to allow visitors into the buildings. Sometimes I've walked around and may have seen things blocking doors, not allowing children to get out, and sometimes it may be some facilities issues that may need to be fixed, with doors being able to come open a little bit too easily. So I'm just around just making sure that the physical buildings are very safe.
Well, that's great. So if you see something, you have the responsibility, and you have a direct connection with Chief Brooks, our Chief of Safety and Security, to tell him what needs to be done so that it can get fixed. That's great. So you really do have decision-making power to make sure that that building is secured, and that's really lovely for parents to hear. That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. But before we end, we really didn't get to hear much about your background. How do you come to Harford County? What's your experience?
Prior to coming to Harford County, I did work with Baltimore City Police Department. I was there for 11 years. My last position there, I was the acting commander of the Child Abuse, Missing Persons, Human Trafficking, and Internet Crimes Against Children. That's where I spent most of my career there. I've also worked in the Department of Juvenile Services. I've worked for the Department of Corrections, and I've also had a child care business.
So it sounds like your whole career has been about keeping children safe.
Yes,
That's
I
wonderful.
love children.
That's great. And here you are bringing that expertise and experience to our kids. So thank you so much for joining us. It's so great to have you here, and thank you for working every day to keep our buildings safe.
Thank you.
Thanks. And we'll see you next time on Parent Academy Real Talk.